What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back in the video. It's Monday, it's new time. It's time for the mock draft Monday. This week, everyone's been asking for it, so we're gonna do a SuperFlex mock draft, full PPR, 12-team league. We will randomize this spot. We've done early, middle, and late, so we'll take anything 8. And again, we will add in the SuperFlex spot. For those of you who don't know, that is just a flex spot that we'll put on top of the normal ones. We're still gonna do 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, 7 bench. But this next flex spot could be anything besides kicker and defense, but of course we don't play with kickers, and we'll put everything at normal and we will begin. So different strategy a little bit, obviously. With SuperFlex, you're going to value the quarterback position a little bit more highly, but we'll kind of see that. We'll kind of talk about that little strategy for that part. So again, it's full PPR. Quarterbacks go off the board: Allen, Hurts, Lamar, Mahomes, and Anthony Richardson. So a very, very quarterback heavy beginning to this draft. Remember, that flex spot should every week be a quarterback, but it doesn't need to be, right? You don't just like take a 0 if you have, you draft, because we're probably gonna draft 3 quarterbacks. We're gonna ideally start 2 of them every week. If we had to put a wide receiver in there, we're not just gonna automatically lose. Just understand that, like, even the worst quarterbacks are going to project for around 14 or so points each week. That would be like a really good projection for a wide receiver. So you're obviously like taking an L at that spot if you were to start like your wide receiver 4 in the flex spot there, the super flex spot. But again, you don't just like lose the matchup because of it. But very, very heavy beginning to this quarterback. And then McCaffrey, of course, goes, and then Breece Hall as well. So again, we're at the 8 pick, which means we're going to have what? 8 picks go by between this one and the next one. So we can play around with that a little bit and like try and guess which player is going to be there at the next pick. Top quarterback on the board is CJ Stroud. I have him as the top quarterback available, but I have him at 13 in Superflex. So not amazing value right now. I do feel like we kind of missed out. This is honestly, I would say, a pretty tough range to take quarterback. I don't think that would be the move. Given that 5 have come off the board in the first 7 picks, I don't think the move would be to take quarterback at this spot. So we consider Bijan if we wanted to start off with a running back. Very, very, very likely outcome if we start off with a running back is that we would take 2 quarterbacks in the next 3 rounds. We would probably mix in a wide receiver into the other one. So we would be pushed into Hero RB build, which of course, is a strong build type. So we could go Hero RB with Bijan, or you go wide receiver. It's full PPR. Wide receiver's not come off the board yet. My top wide receiver in full PPR is CeeDee Lamb. That's who they have at the top board right now. I think that's how I want to start this one off, because here's another thing. I'm going to pull up the roster here. It's full PPR, and if we're kind of taking this hit in the Superflex spot, more than likely, if we're kind of like a little bit weaker at quarterback, we would fill that in with wide receiver. So my default here is, if this turns out to be a very quarterback heavy draft and I'm a little bit thinner at the position, I want to have 4 wide receivers I'm confident in, being able to start off with one that obviously we should be very confident in CeeDee Lamb. That's going to benefit us over time. Someone said I can hover. I should have probably practiced this beforehand. They said if I hover over something, I don't see any ability to hit the plus on the first person available there. But they said if I hover, I could take it. I don't know. I still don't see how we're doing the draft button there, but drafting him. All right, CeeDee Lamb off the board, and I want to skip these. I don't want these to pop up anymore. Okay, we take CeeDee. 1 million quarterbacks still flying off the board, so we need to be a little bit careful at this spot to not wait too long. Stroud goes after us, but Stroud, Burrow, Dak, Kyler comes off the board. Jordan Love just before our pick. Honestly, we probably would have drafted Jordan Love at that spot. And we see wide receivers: Chase, Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. Would have been actually kind of cool to be able to pair 2 of them. But we could do it with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So let's think through this. Okay. Would have liked Jordan Love that pick. Would have still been, I think, a little bit of a reach, to be honest. But only like 2 spots. So that's not too much to worry about. We've got like Purdy, Caleb Williams, Tua. That's who I have as like a mini tier. Still good with those options after that. But yeah, this is actually, okay, this is going to be very, very interesting. My gut says, like, if I'm in this draft, it is, okay, you guys are being a little bit absurd. Like, this to me feels a little bit absurd to be drafting quarterbacks this heavily. My thinking would be that we're about to see a dip. We're about to see maybe these teams attack wide receiver and running back. And if I start off CeeDee Lamb and then we are literally at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 11th quarterback. And these teams got the best quarterback and then like still a pretty decent running back wide receiver. I feel like I'm behind. I never want to feel like I'm behind. So I would rather do something unique. I would be, the only team besides, we'll see what McCaffrey and Brees teams do. The only team to not take a quarterback to start off here and to maybe either go with CeeDee Lamb and Amon St. Brown or CeeDee Lamb and Bijan Robinson, get the wide receiver 1 and the running back 2 or 3. I probably need to do a breakdown video between those two. I have 1.9 points in favor of Brees Hall, but I've been asked a lot about the difference between Bijan and Brees Hall, and it's quite close. So part of me wants to do that. I don't think I want to take. It would be Purdy or Caleb. But you'd probably, honestly, waiting this long, you'd probably want to take the security of Purdy. So it would be taking Purdy or taking one of them. I don't think I want to do it. And this is a really good test. If you find yourself in this situation, what can you do? What sort of build can you end up with if you avoid quarterback one more time? So I think I want to do that. Do I want to do it with St. Brown or do I want to do it with Bijan? My gut says do it with St. Brown because, again, this is a risky move, not taking a quarterback in these first two. But I'm securing 2 wide receivers that are going to get an incredible amount of points. Could very easily be, 2 top 3 wide receivers a season in full PPR where they both really benefit. I feel like my gut says take those 2. And again, that out with we can overload on wide receivers and still start wide receiver in that SuperFlex spot. We won't want to all the time, but I think that's the move. So let's test it. And let's see what happens with the rest of our draft. We will need to be attacking. Oh my goodness, we just missed Tua too. So we have gotten very unlucky with just missing Love and just missing Tua here. But Purdy, Herbert, Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Tua come off the board. We see Bijan right after us. Gibbs, JT, Saquon come off the board. And then AJ Brown, Puka, Garrett Wilson, and Pittman come off the board as well. So pull up our team here. We've got CeeDee Lamb, and we've got St. Brown. Okay. Definitely don't want to be attacking the tight end position right now. Tight end this early would be a luxury. We don't have the luxury to kind of keep waiting at quarterback, so I wouldn't go there. Running back, Kyron wouldn't be a bad pick at this spot, but it would need to be a better value. He's just not. So none of the running backs are really a value at the spot. If you're looking at wide receiver, it would be Marvin Harrison. About 4 picks of value. Adams, solid pick, but nothing special. Drake London, good pick at this spot. But to take our 3rd wide receiver, probably not the move to take here. So we're probably looking at quarterback. Top quarterback on the board for my rankings is... You're looking at either Goff or Trevor Lawrence, which is not going to feel amazing. Trevor Lawrence I have at 34. We're at 32, so not too bad there. But I probably would, ideally get, this person's probably not taking a quarterback. Possible these guys do. Ideally, I'm getting 2 of these 3. Goff and Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins. And I probably want to play the ADP game. Theoretically, Goff is more likely to be drafted. If we look at this as our quote-unquote ADP on the left, just how they have the rankings, Trevor Lawrence, Stafford, Cousins, a little bit less likely to go off the board than Jared Goff. So I think that's the move. Yeah, and we get the nice little stack. You don't really need stacks, but, if St. Brown's going to have a season that makes it worthwhile us taking him over a quarterback, he's kind of bringing Jared Goff with him. So I think that is the move. So we'll take him. No quarterbacks, it looks like. Interesting. Okay. Well, Fields goes off the board. An interesting one there. Latest reports on Fields is that, probably needs an injury, but I don't fully believe that. I still think, camp. If camp still happens, he goes out there and he's really good, he could still absolutely take over, because I mean Russ, hasn't exactly been fantastic recently. Okay, after us, I said Fields. Only 2 running backs. It was Kyron and Rashad White. We had Adams, Marvin Harrison, Olave, and Mike Evans, and then Kelsey does come off the board. So we're at the 405. Pick 41. We've got CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, and Jared Goff. Top options. We could take McBride. Again, kind of feels like a luxury. I have him at 53, so tight end doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You've got that Etienne and Jacobs and honestly Achane mini range. Probably they're like strong values. They're nothing special. So I have Achane 31, Etienne 39, Jacobs 41. So each one of them is like a decent value. Theoretically possible that we could get Achane in the next round. We are not going to get Kirk Cousins or Trevor Lawrence in the next round, so we probably just like need to take one of those two. If you wanted to attack your third running back, Drake London, Ayuk is like a mini tier there. They would be very strong picks, but it wouldn't make sense for us to forego quarterback another time. So we should take our top quarterback between Kirk Cousins and Trevor Lawrence, at least the one we feel like the best about. I do have Trevor Lawrence a pretty good amount ahead. I don't feel great about Trevor Lawrence this season. But I have him at 279 for the projection. Kirk Cousins at 260. Had we had maybe a stack, we could have gone that way as well. I think I'll take Trevor Lawrence also because I've kind of made an effort to get Trevor Lawrence down in the projections. I've reduced rushing touchdowns. I've reduced efficiency. It's been kind of like I've been making an effort to try and get him even lower than he is right now. And it's been difficult. And I don't think I could really possibly get him 16 points lower to match Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins also a little bit more risky. I kind of don't want to take a ton of risk with this quarterback because I want to be sure if I bust at quarterback here, that's going to be tough for me. I feel like Goff and Trevor Lawrence, while Trevor Lawrence has no upside whatsoever and is not someone I typically target, if we're at the quarterback 17 now, all the ones that I do typically love to target, Anthony Richardson, who I would have loved to gotten in that first round, goes one pick before me. I like Jordan Love. I really like Daniels. I really like Kyler. Was barely out of position to draft all of them. And so we kind of have to go the route of, our upside comes with the wide receivers, and then we'll add on Trevor Lawrence and Jared Goff at quarterback. So let's do that. All right. Who comes off the board? We'll scroll this up for you guys. Again, CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, Goff, and Trevor Lawrence. After our Trevor Lawrence pick, Cousins and Rodgers go. A lot more running backs and wide receivers. So running back Etienne, Pacheco, Jacobs, Henry, Achane, and Mixon. That kind of stinks because that was a really, really strong range that we could have gotten at this spot and would have been beneficial to get. That's gone. Pretty strong wide receivers, of course, go off the board. Ayuk, London, Diggs, Debo, Kupp, and DJ Moore. So let's see what is available to us. If we wanted to grab that third quarterback, we could. It would be Stafford. We'd sit there and be like, okay, I feel confident in, Stafford, Goff, Trevor Lawrence. 2 of the 3 each week can get, strong matchups. Because again, you're going to have bye weeks. You're going to have potential injuries. Less likely, I would say, with Lawrence and Goff. But I mean, remember last season, all these pocket passers getting injured. So that could happen. But also just matchup based. We could run into situations where there's a couple weeks in a row where Goff and I would never bench Goff, being honest. But Trevor Lawrence, maybe he has a rough patch. Maybe he starts season slow because he's got to adjust with no Calvin Ridley and new Ryan Thomas Jr. Maybe he runs into some tough matchups. So we will use this third quarterback a decent amount. My gut is telling me had we gotten pull up the draft board here. Had we gotten Kirk Cousins, I would have really liked to attack that upside in that next round. Stafford, I think, would be a good pick. I don't know that I really want to go there. I have Stafford at 64, so again, it would be a slight reach. And I have these wide receivers ranked ahead, so we're still in a really strong range of wide receivers like Nico Collins, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, drop down a little bit into DK Metcalf and kind of beyond. So we've got 3. Collins, Waddle, Devonta Smith that I feel really, really good about. Also, honestly, you can throw McBride in there, and now McBride at 53 is like a pretty strong pick. At running back, I would have loved to have gotten Pacheco, but James Cook is still on the board. I have him at 52. I believe top-ranked player. Oh, no, Waddle. Waddle's the top-ranked player on the board right now. So that's interesting. Stafford, James Cook, Waddle, Nico, Devonta Smith, Trey McBride. There are 6 players that we would really like to get with this pick. And realistically, there are 6 players that I would love to get 2 of. In my mind, I think, okay, there's the most of wide receiver, and it's the position that we have the most invested in early on. So if I'm going to take a chance that one of these players is going to be there, I should take the chance that one of the wide receivers is there, because there's also not a huge drop-off into I would honestly probably throw Metcalf in there. It's not a huge difference between him and Devonta Smith. It's like 8 points. That's not too bad. So now we're up to 7. And there's going to be 8 picks that go by after us. So we're going to have 6 left. 6 of the 8 go off the board. Unlikely, right? We'd get a little bit unlikely or a little bit unlucky if that were to happen to us. And in half PPR, I'd throw Ken Walker into here, but not as much in full PPR. But actually, you can throw Kamara in there as well. Because Kamara's only a few picks, actually 0.8 behind James Cook. So now there's 8. So we're adding some options. I want to get 2 of these players. What is the smartest way to get 2? I don't think it's taking wide receiver here. So don't take that. It would be interesting taking McBride. But again, it feels more like a luxury, and it feels like something I can attack a little bit later on with some better value. So I don't think I want to go with McBride with this pick, and I'll be totally fine if in round 6 it comes along that he's there. So no wide receiver, no tight end. How do we choose between running back and quarterback here? I just think running back probably just benefits our team just a little bit more than Matthew Stafford does. We can look at the board. We can look at the board and say, maybe these 2 teams just don't want to go with quarterback. And so these 2 teams don't even have a running back. It's so much more likely the running back does get drafted that it's probably in our best interest to not go 6 rounds in a row without taking one. So I think we should take our top running back on the board, which is James Cook. So we will go out here. Wow, James Cook way down there. I just think it's likely that one of those teams would take running back. I know that technically their board has all these quarterbacks here. Like Will Levis is not going to be drafted before Will Levis, Derek Carr, JJ McCarthy. They're not going to be drafted before James Cook. So this is kind of ridiculous what they have going on here. Yeah, I think I gotta take James Cook. All right, we will draft James Cook. We will look at the board and we will see what happens. Stafford goes, Kamara goes, Nico and Keenan Allen go, but those are the only 2 wide receivers. McBride goes 1 pick before us. Okay. So interesting. So again, smart of us not to take the running back there, or not take the wide receiver there. And Baker comes off the board as well with Stafford. So at quarterback, it's the range where I don't want to play around with that. Watson, Geno, Levis, Carr, McCarthy, Daniel Jones, Bryce, May, Wilson, Nix, backups. That's what's left on the board right now. I'm very confident we can get one of them at our next pick. At running back, where do I have Stevenson? Stevenson would be interesting here. I have Stevenson. It's a little bit of reach taking him, but Stevenson at that next pick would still be pretty strong. We are going to start to, miss out on some of these running backs, but there's still a lot of running backs in this general range that I'm good with. So I don't think I want to go with running back, especially again, Waddle and Devonta Smith were in that top tier in consideration last pick. They're still there. I mean, I have Jalen Waddle in this format at pick 51. Devonta Smith at 57. We're at 65. It's such good value right now for Jalen Waddle. I just think take it. Yeah, take the value because it's still a starter on our team. I think that's a great pick. Been a while since we went over the team. So, again, quarterback and SuperFlex spot. Goff, Trevor Lawrence. Strong, not amazing, but strong. Running back is James Cook. Really good wide receiver going. A full PPR format having CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, and Jalen Waddle. That's strong. That's a really, really high. I mean, the weekly upside is insane, but it's a strong floor as well. We know Lamb and St. Brown are going to rack up reception. So I feel very, very good about that. Very, very good about that. Okay. After we went, pull this up a little bit. After we go, only Watson comes off the board at quarterback. Again, we were anticipating a break there. A ton of wide receivers. Rice, Devonta Smith, Higgins, Neighbors, Metcalf, McLaurin, Cooper. Range goes by, and then we just miss out on Zay Flowers. And then we've got Montgomery, Zamir White, and Stevenson, of course, go off the board. Andrews and Kincaid. So actually kind of a little bit rough. A lot of players that we would have loved to get come off the board here. Not a range I want. Tight end. I'm good with Ingram. I don't love Kittle, but I would take him if he fell super far. Pitts, Njoku, Ferguson. I'd like one of them, but if not, I'm cool missing out on them, getting Bowers a little bit later, Schultz a little bit later. So there'll be options for us. I don't think now is the time we need to. We just miss out on that top tier. So no there. I want another quarterback, but I think I don't think there's a huge difference. I think Geno leads this tier. But if you're asking me a difference between Geno, well, okay. We can consider that actually. Let's pull up the quarterback-only rankings. Because I was going to say, there's not a big difference, but there's not a big difference between Levis, Carr, McCarthy, Jones, Wilson, Bryce Young, Drake May, and Nix. I don't think there's a huge difference there. But, I mean, Geno Smith I have at 71. We're at 80. The rest of these guys, it's pick 80 for McCarthy, and then like the mid-80s to 90s for the rest of those guys. But that's a pretty big jump, and it's a good value for Geno Smith. I don't think taking our first bench wide receiver benefits us as much because, again, I want that third strong quarterback because we waited so long. Like, had I gotten, Anthony Richardson in round 1 and assumed that he had a great season, if I gotten like Anthony Richardson and Love in the first 2 rounds, I wouldn't be considering this. I'd just be like, whoever's last among that range, I'll just end up taking them. But I think I might want to actually take Geno here instead of the bench wide receiver because it feels so good. I mean, I'm not going to start Christian Kirk ahead of these guys anyway, so he would be riding the bench to start the season. I don't think it'd be a bad idea to take our second running back, but like if you ask me the difference between Connor, Swift, Pollard, Najee, Warren, Mostert, Eckler, Spears, there's differences, but not enough, I don't think, to forego Geno. Yeah. Let's take Geno. Again, computer's going to tell us that was a slight reach because it wasn't going to draft these guys. But I think there's still definitely a possibility that the team that drafted Burrow and Baker was going to go out there and get Geno Smith. So I think it was worth grabbing him because, again, we kind of saw that drop off. So we're good at quarterback. I think at this point, we've taken our 3. There are 3 that I feel strongly about. People are off of Geno this season. Listen, they're going to throw the ball more. They've got Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN with a solid run game. But again, they're going to throw the ball more than they did last season. They're going to drop back a lot more. I don't understand. And like Geno's definitely better than their backups. I don't know. I think Geno's being really hated on this season for kind of no reason. So I like taking him as the third one. So again, good at quarterback. I believe it's the same tight ends, maybe one went off the board, but I mean, Ingram, Pitts, and Njoku, Ferguson is still there. So I don't think it benefits us a ton to go after it. I'll pull up the tight end specific rankings. It would actually be Pitts at 83 and then Ingram at 99. So Pitts is the best play here. I don't think we need to. So I'm going to forego that. At running back, we're starting to get into, missing out on some guys we like. We all know I like Spears. I like this like Moss, Chase Brown, Singletary range. We're not going to go there right now, but just to keep in mind for us. I wouldn't hate going with Chubb and being like, can you figure it out early in the season while he's maybe either not playing or a little bit slow to start, and then hopefully peak late and get like Chubb and Cook to kind of close off. We just make playoffs, and then if Chubb's going off in the playoffs, our team's obviously like dominant, right? Because you're getting a huge value on him. So don't mind that. But Warren, Najee, and Javonte Williams. I know I dropped Javonte Williams recently because I don't have a ton of confidence in him. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to go there because I mean I have Spears and Singletary and Moss all ahead of him. So there's just no way we're going to end up with him. It would be Najee. Najee is my top running back on the board. He's at 91. We're at pick 89. That's not too bad of value. If we went with wide receiver, I want to pull up a new page and go to wide receiver. It would probably be Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Hopkins, but it's another one of those situations where like, I don't think it's worthwhile to us to really go there because the drop-off's bigger at running back than it is. Like a lot of these wide receivers are very similar, and we need running back a little bit more. So yeah, Najee's the play. I didn't even check the wide receiver rankings. I can kind of let those load, pull them up over here. It would have been Ridley. So I was right. It would have been Ridley, but I think that's totally fine. Not getting there. Okay. The team again. Pull up the roster. Starting lineup's almost there. We just don't have tight end yet. Goff, Cook, Najee, Lamb, St. Brown, Waddle, Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith. Okay. It's coming together nicely, I think. Someone took a defense, of course, classic. Will Levis comes off the board. Running backs, Javonte Williams, Warren, Chubb, Moss, Jonathan Brooks, and Spears. We just missed out one pick on Spears. We missed out one pick a lot here. And then wide receivers, Sutton, Ridley, Addison, Godwin, Reed, and Hopkins. Okay, so no tight ends come off the board. It is now becoming a lot better of a value for us to take the tight end position. If we pull up the rankings, actually, let's pull up the teams. Okay, interesting though. Kelsey, Kittle, and McBride in this mini turn are all there. So yes, bend it like Beckham. They could end up taking tight end, but it's kind of two tight ends at the top of the board here, Ingram and Pitts. It's probably beneficial for us to wait. And if we get Ingram or Pitts in a full PPR format in the 10th round, I mean, that's really strong value. And then we probably shouldn't chance it after that because I think there's going to be a tight end run after that with a lot of those teams. But this mini-tier is only really one team we're worried about. So we're not going to take that, even though they're good values. But we will star them for our next pick here. Come on. Okay. Deontay. Where's Deontay? I actually have Hollywood a little bit ahead of Deontay in full PPR, which surprises me. And given that I'm high, like my ranking is high on Deontay, we should make note of that because it's not like I'm like, really projecting. I guess it's a 3-point difference. I'm not like over projecting Marquise Brown. I don't think so. For me to have him as the top player here kind of speaks to it. Those would be the top two wide receivers. But Adunze, JSN, they'd be like right there as well. I just have Adunze a little bit behind Marquise Brown. But still would love to get all of this at the next pick. Even Ladd. So there's a lot of wide receivers. I think someone will come off the board, but a lot of wide receivers we could still opportunity for. I feel like the play is probably running back at this spot. So between these options, I have Singletary. Little bit of a reach right now, but not too bad. But Singletary, Mostert, Chase Brown. Actually, Mostert, then Brian Robinson, then Chase Brown is how I have that. Interesting. I don't think we need the running back. I mean, we've got Cook and Najee. I want to have more wide receivers and running backs because I'll use that flex spot plus the super flex spot. Both of those would definitely be wide receivers for us. There's a lot of wide receivers that are still really strong. I think the play here is just kind of forego running back. Take Hollywood. If Ingram and Pitts go off the board, it'd be weird, but that's okay. And then we'll just attack wide receiver again at the next pick and have an epic wide receiver core. I think that's the play. All right. Yeah, I like it. So let's go back to wide receiver. Let's take Hollywood. Let's see what happens. No tight ends come off the board. So we'll have, this is a decision. This is like an inflection point of our draft right now. So we see Jason and Deontay come off the board. A lot of running backs. Mostert, Singletary, Chase Brown, Gus, Zeke, Brian Robinson. We still have the wide receivers we love, right? I love Dunze, Worthy, Lockett, Christian Watson, probably not in this format as much of a love. Ladd can rack up receptions. But we now already have one bench wide receiver, so taking our second bench wide receiver, less benefit each time we take it. Running back, we're in that range where we did just kind of miss out on some players. Not in love with anyone really on the board right now. It's all handcuffs. We're going to be thinner at wide receiver, but in SuperFlex, full PPR, if you're going to miss out on a position, it's running back. And we'll hammer some late. I think we take tight end. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that in full PPR I have Pitts that much ahead of Evan Ingram. Maybe that's something I need to adjust. For the projections, 10 points. So I have Pitts 10 points better than Evan Ingram at a really good value. I mean, I have him at 83. We're 113. And if we're looking for another one of those, like, upside plays of like, because we pull up the roster here, again, we're looking for ways that we can benefit from having not gotten, because we're going to get beat at quarterback from a lot of these teams. If we're just strong at quarterback and we've got this epic wide receiver core and then we can hit on Pitts, that's awesome. If Pitts can turn into a top 3 tight end, we've got the best wide receiver core in the league. Running back, I think Cook and Najee can kind of get it through, and then we kind of figure out maybe some upside options later on. I think that makes sense. I think that's like an out for us to have a really strong team. So I'm going to go with Pitts. All right. Next round, Ingram does go. A lot of wide receivers come off the board, which is honestly probably a good thing for us because it's not the position we really need right now the most. Adunze, Worthy, Dotson, Ladd McConkey, Lockett, Watson, Brian Robinson Jr., Myers, Coleman, Thielen, Mike Williams. Only picks that were not wide receivers are Antonio Gibson, Charbonnet, and Evan Ingram. Okay. So, but Jameson, okay. What's the drop off there? Lot of buzz right now on Jameson Williams. Not really a full PPR player, but I have him at a decent spot right now. Because there's a clear drop off after Jameson Williams here. Very, very clear drop off. So that's an option. We're not going to take a second tight end this early. We're not going to take another quarterback. At running back, there are some really, really good handcuffs. Jerome Ford. Trey Benson, I would put up there with really good handcuffs. Blake Corum, phenomenal handcuff. Kendre Miller, really strong, not even handcuff. He's probably the early down back on an offense that's going to be better running the football this season. So some really, really strong options for us. I would call it extraordinarily likely that one of them is still there at our next pick. So we could double dip, but I don't think that's smart. I think we take Jameson Williams and we take whatever running back is there at our next pick. We don't need to overload the running back position if we're pretty much guaranteed we're only starting 2 of them each week. And again, I see a pretty big drop off after Jameson Williams into this next range. So I think that's the move. Okay. We do see 4 running backs, but they're not 4 that we anticipated. Benson, Rico Dowdle, Roshan, and Chuba come off the board with 4 wide receivers as well. So again, no tight end, no quarterback, and now we have that drop off a wide receiver. We'll flip back on over to running back. I don't actually know who I have ranked higher among this group. I'll say Corum has the most upside, especially long term. They view him as a clone to Kyron. Kyron, of course, has these foot injuries that keep kind of popping up. If that were to happen, you'd have someone who could literally be a running back 1, if just like 1 foot injury. I mean, I would love it if I could get multiple of these players. But I do have Corum, then Ford, then Kendre Miller. And I think it makes sense. Corum is just the highest upside running back of this group. I really want to capitalize on that upside. Yeah, I think Corum's the play. Oh, nice. That's beautiful. That worked out so well in our favor. Okay, so I took Corum. A lot of tight ends come up the board. I don't care because I'm not taking another one. Quarterback goes, I'm not taking another one. That's fine. Some wide receivers go off the board, some running backs, but Kendre Miller is still there. Now, Kendre is not really a full PPR target, but in round 13, on again, an offense that's going to be better running the football this season, a player that, let's be honest, Jamal Williams is complete dust. I mean, he was like historically inefficient last season, another year older. He was never that great of a player. He's like, I think Kendre Miller beats him. Kamara, going to be involved. For sure, going to be involved. But going to be involved more in like the receiving game, right? I think they're going to use Kendra as the early down back. And if you're getting that in round 13, it's really strong as well because, I mean, we only have 3 running backs right now. I think, like, I don't even need to look at what else is available. Kendra Miller is a great pick at that spot. That was great getting that value there. Okay. Let's flip the team. What do we need? We've got James Cook, Najee, Blake Corum, and Kendra Miller at running back. So we're thinner. We probably want to take one more running back, one more high upside back. We've got Lamb, St. Brown, Waddle, Hollywood, and Jameson Williams. A really strong wide receiver core. Probably benefits our team to double dip or to take one of each. Take a running back, take a wide receiver, grab a defense, and call it a day. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing here. How do we optimize that? Who's our favorite running back? Probably Wright. I mean, that feels obvious to me. You could go with Lloyd. I think Algier, I think Lloyd could like outscore Jalen Wright like on average. But if we're saying like what's a Pat's upside, I mean, Achane or Mostert gets injured and Jalen Wright is running back too. Like that's literally all that needs to happen. So I don't think it's worth risking missing out on him because there's no wide receiver in a quick glance. No wide receivers like standing out as an obvious play. So take Jalen Wright. I don't think any wide receivers even went on the board. Yeah, no wide receivers even go. So we'll take a wide receiver. One that's standing out is Dontavian Wicks. I'll pull up the rankings because I don't know exactly how I have it. I do have A.D. Mitchell first. We're a little bit young, so one thing you want to be cognizant of is how many rookies do you have. Luckily, the starting lineup has no rookies. Actually, it's only been the last 3. So just in my mind, the last 3 picks were 3 rookie running backs that all have significant upside. So I was like, don't be too young. But honestly, it's a sharp move trying to add some rookies onto your bench because your starting lineup is going to be solid to start the season. And then those rookies will kind of take off second half of the season, can be up there upside for injuries. I really like Dontavian Wicks. But if you want to go with multiple players here, like Pearsall's good play, Bateman, Wicks, Shakir, Gabe, Shaheed, and Mitchell. Actually, I was going to say, I have Shakir next. So it's Mitchell, then Myers wasn't on the board, right? Yeah, Mitchell, then it would have been Myers, then Shakir, then Shaheed. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so the report came out that they're going to kind of rotate the wide receivers a lot. That probably does benefit everyone that's not Pittman because the assumption when going in with Pittman's going to have like a, 25, 26% target share. If it's more flat, it benefits everyone else. I'm not huge on Mitchell, but I'm not huge on Mitchell an Underdog where he's going at pick like 115. Actually was going closer to like pick 107, I think, and now he's kind of moved back a little bit. We're at 176, so I'm a little bit more okay with that value. Yeah, let's do it. Let's take A.D. Mitchell. They gotta fix this. I don't understand. It's green, and then I click it, and then nothing happens. Oh yeah, it's the stupid add to the players there. Okay. Yeah. Grab Mitchell. Grab a defense. It doesn't matter. Again, I haven't looked into strength of schedule yet. Okay, I like this team. I think this was pretty strong, and I think that it was a really good job of not only showing what you can get for going, not going early at quarterback, but kind of out, like getting yourself out of that hole. I thought to start we were in a hole, honestly. Like, I know it looks great, obviously, having Lamb and St. Brown, and we are going to get a ton of points from them in full PPR, but we were in a hole not having a quarterback in those first 2 rounds. There's some of these teams that are going to have really strong quarterback play. But I think we did good getting Goff and getting Trevor Lawrence as like 2 strong options. I think we did good, taking that value of Jalen Waddle. I think we did good attacking James Cook and Najee Harris, 2 running backs we know are going to get touches this season, just having some security in that spot, getting the upside in Kyle Pitts. And in the bench, I think getting Geno was smart to do, and then upside. Hollywood has obvious upside on Kansas City. Jameson Williams getting a ton of hype right now from Detroit, them not drafting a wide receiver, them letting Josh Reynolds walk in free agency. Like, they have no one behind Jameson Williams. And then upside on the bench, Corum, Miller, Jalen Wright, and A.D. Mitchell. I think that's a very, very strong team. So Curious actually what do I have? I'm always curious what like I don't even show up as one of the people who likes the team the most. All right, but we got Matt Harmon likes our team. Hoppin likes our team. Very nice. Surprised I don't show up as a person who likes the team as much, given that I drafted with the rankings. This guy gave me a 12. What? Well, that doesn't even make sense. Okay. So if you watch this far, at least someone liked the team. Let me know what you, or at least like the stream at some point. Let me know what you think. Comment section below. What moves would have you done differently? Would have you attacked quarterback a little bit earlier on than I did? But again, if you watched this far, please hit the like button. If you are subscribed, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you are subscribed, please click the bell icon. It's going to make sure I actually show up in your feed. Sometimes YouTube hides us. I'll be back tomorrow live, 6:30 Eastern, to do a stream, Underdog stream with you all, and the normal video back on Wednesday. That, my friends, is in this one, and thanks for watching.